Hey guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and this is my 15,000 mile ownership review of my 2013 Audi S8. All right guys, let's take it for a spin. Now I've had the car 11 months, put 15,000 miles on it. I bought it certified pre-owned with 19,000 miles, and now we have 34,000 miles. Now we'll do a comprehensive review when we hit the 1 year, which is about a month from now. And I anticipate putting at least another 1,000 miles in the car, maybe 2,000. The summer is going to be a busy month for me for sure. So in the real world, what is it like to own an Audi S8? Well, in the real world, it's great because you can get all that 520 horsepower to the ground. So we've driven a lot of fast cars on this channel. We've driven the Hellcat Challenger, the Hellcat Red Eye, and those cars have more power and, you know, just on a fun drive are more fun, but it's very hard to get that power to the ground. We're here with the all-wheel drive. That 0 to 60 of about 3.5 seconds is very, very repeatable. Even in the rain, even in the pouring rain, you could accelerate on the highway as if it wasn't raining if you have the proper tires. If you're not used to doing that, don't do that. Don't drive like I do. But for a work car for my commercial real estate business, I just had really important clients, household name company, in the car all day yesterday for about 5 or 6 hours. We looked at a bunch of different properties, commercial properties, and they loved it, between the massage seats and the nice ride. Of course, I didn't exercise the throttle with them. Most people think it's an A8, and that's fine with me. So I always say the big back seat is for my clients, and the 520 horsepower is for me. Now, I believe it was Motor Trend that put this car in a dyno. They liked it so much, and they said, how can a 4,400 pound car really have a 0 to 60 time that fast at 3.5, 3.6 seconds? And when they dynoed this car, it was putting out about 600 to the crank. So the 520 horsepower that we're talking about, instead of being crank horsepower like they say it is, it's really wheel horsepower, and that's why it's so fast. So essentially you have a 600 horsepower car. I'm still under the CPO warranty for another month, but even though this was a 2013, because I bought a CPO from an Audi dealer, even though the original warranty, 4 years, 50,000 mile warranty, was long expired, they could still do a CPO for the right car. Let's put it in sport mode here. Now the acceleration, I thought it was fast in whoa. Now the sport mode's a little harsh, so when you lift off the gas, it kind of kicks back a little bit because it keeps you in that lower gear. But I thought this was fast in drive. When I started using it in sport mode, it's really fast. So again, getting back to what it's like to own, you really have the fastest car on the road, because even if the Hellcat Red Eye is next to you and you both accelerated out of the toll booth or try to pass each other in the highway or whatever, that car is going to go sideways. Even my McLaren has trouble putting the 562 horsepower to the ground for that first second or so. With this car, with the all-wheel drive, just takes off. Now it only comes with summer tires, so if you live in the Northeast like I do in northern New Jersey, where we get snow and it rains 3 times a week, there are no all-season tires for this car. So you get those blistering acceleration numbers because you have summer tires, but then you have to get a set of winter tires. So I did get a set of winter tires, which make this car unstoppable. So all-season tires are a compromise. You're not going to have the best handling or acceleration or braking with them, and you're not going to have the best snow performance either. So even though I had to shell out money for a set of winter wheels and tires, you know, you get the best of both worlds. You got the ultimate traction no matter what season it is. So what is I'll tell you at the end of the video what my favorite thing about the car and what my least favorite things about the car. And our 1 year review is going to be very comprehensive, a lot longer than this. I've already done a 5,000 and 10,000 mile review of this, so I'll link this at the end of the video, so be sure to watch it all the way through. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, because you're not going to want to miss, hit the notification bell, because you're not going to want to miss that 12-month comprehensive review. So let's talk, I'm going to open the sunroof here just so we have some light. Let's talk about running costs. Well, I do an oil change about every 5,000 miles. So we've done 3 oil changes so far. You could probably do them for less than $100 yourself if you go to the Audi dealer It's about 160 bucks, which I think is very reasonable, especially with dealerships today. I know Porsche dealerships that charge $400 or $500 for an oil change. So our running cost has been the 3 oil changes and 4 tires. So what happened is this car was CPO. It had tires from 2016 to 2017. They had pretty good tread when I got the car 11 months ago. But I do drive the car spiritedly. I do a lot of accelerations which wore out the rear tires. So I got a set of rears. They're about $315 each, a tire rack. The tire sizes I think are like 275, 35, 21. So the tires are more expensive because they're bigger tires. And then I got a blown out wheel, which was a tire rack rim, thank God, so it was cheap, 250 bucks from a pothole in the winter, and then a blown out tire from a pothole in the spring a couple months ago, maybe only a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. So we had because the front tires were probably 70% worn, and then obviously one blew out. I didn't want to have one tire with 30% tread left, brand new one, so I just got 2 brand new ones. So that was another 600 bucks. So our running costs are about 1,500 bucks, 16, 1,700 bucks total for 11 months, which I think isn't bad for a car that used to be a $120,000 car, brand new in 2013. Now this 2013, this is the first year of the 4-liter twin-turbo V8. Before that, the S8s, or the generation before, had a detuned Lamborghini Gallardo motor. Now the V8's turbos have been a lot more reliable. Turbos are expensive. When they do go, OEM turbos are like $9,000. You can get aftermarket ones for about half the price. There's tunes you can do on this car pretty cheaply where you can make it 700 horsepower. And again, if this car is really putting out 600 horsepower, the tune's giving you about 100 horsepower more. We're going to go on the highway here and do a little acceleration. This is my favorite thing to do with the car. It's really a highway car for me, so all these miles were highway. It's really too heavy on these back roads. I'm doing that just because it's a little quieter and we have a little more room here. But really you have, wow, you really have, it's a little too quiet. There is a dynamic mode, which does make it a little louder, but it's not a huge difference. But you do have the power to pass anybody in the highway. So those slow left-hand drivers driving 45 in the left-hand lane, you can easily get around them when the space clears up. Brakes are very expensive on these cars. They're huge. They're like 15-inch rotors, I believe, if I remember correctly. So part of the reason I bought this car and wanted CPO is they put brand new brakes on when I bought the car. So I don't have to worry about brakes for a while. And again, I'm doing mainly highway driving or sitting in traffic, so I'm not, going on mountain roads or track use where I'm stomping on the brakes. Now you do feel the weight of this car in the turns. It weighs 4,400 pounds, which is less than some of its competitors, but it's still a heavy car and with the engine all the way out front. So there will be a lot of understeer in the beginning. So what I do is I trail brake all these turns and it makes a huge difference. But you have to know what you're doing with trail braking. I have a lot of track experience, a lot of autocross experience. So I consider myself pretty good at trail braking the car. And we're gonna hit some traffic here, so I'm gonna get off on a side road. And what we'll do here is I'll go down in sport mode. So now after having it 11 months, I am in love with sport mode. It makes a huge difference. Again, I thought drive was fast, but sport mode, the shifts are lightning, the upshifts on this ZF 8-speed automatic. And it's very easy, just a click of this automatic transmission. You can toggle back and forth between sport mode and drive. Brakes really work well. Stopping distances are very good. I believe they're about 110 feet, 60 to 0, which is really good, especially for such a heavy car. So what I like about the car, I love the power. I love sport mode. I love the stereo system. I searched the country. I found this car in Miami because I wanted the Bang & Olufsen stereo. I love the comfortable ride, and I love these massage seats. I'm going to use them right now. And I use them all the time, even if I'm just running out for milk. All right, we'll make a left-hand turn here, and we'll wait till traffic clears. There's a lot of people coming at us. So what don't I like about the car? Well, my biggest gripe, besides being heavy and the engine out in front, should have went there. My biggest gripe about the car is just the size. It's 17 feet long. It's kind of a pain in the neck to park, especially when you might go in really tight parking lots. And maneuvering this thing can certainly be tricky. But accelerating out, look, it's even moving the camera. That's how fast we're moving. Every time I accelerate, you see the camera really moves here. But you know, I love driving the car as a highway car. It's not a sports car. I would say it's a very fast luxury car, but it is a lot of fun to drive, and that's why I chose the Audi. It weighs less than its competitors. I thought it was way more sporty than a 7 Series or an S-Class. It's not as sporty as an AMG, as an AMG, like a C63 AMG. It's not as sporty as any M5, but for what I have, it does really well, and it's a sleeper. So if I want to go fast on the highway, I don't stand out. It's good for my clients. They just think it's an A8, and it's got a really comfortable ride. A very close second was the Panamera. I couldn't afford a GTS, so my budget was in the 40s, and so I was looking at 4S's, and basically the ones I could afford were like 2000. I couldn't really afford a 2012 yet, so probably like a 2010, 2011. I thought those cars were ugly. They were only 4-seaters, and that dual clutch, even though Porsche now is the best in the business, and back then it was a very good dual clutch, it's showing its age now, and it was terrible in bumper-to-bumper traffic. Same thing about the F10 M5. Now that would be rear drive, and really since this is a work car, I could be 2 hours from home when I finish my day, and it could be raining or snowing, and I should be able to get home. So I really wanted all-wheel drive, but I really like the F10 M5, especially like with the competition package. The problem is rear drive, and it really eats up gas mileage. So I guess that's another thing I like about this car, is I drive this very, very aggressively, and I get about 23 miles a gallon, which is great. So my V8 M3, I got 17. My GLA 45 AMG with a 4-cylinder, I got about 23, 24 miles a gallon. You can check out those videos. So really this V8 twin turbo is getting almost as much money as mileage as my 4-cylinder GLA 45. And the reason why is I use this mainly on the highway, and on the highway it runs in 4-cylinder mode instead of 8-cylinder mode. And you can't even tell the difference. So Audi pumped some white noise in the cabin, so it still sounds like an 8-cylinder. And it really doesn't sound like anything, because it's hard to make a turbo sound good, and I would say you really hear very little engine noise. It sounds pretty good when you're accelerating, but you know, with a turbo motor, it does not sound great. So other gripes about the car could be running costs. I mean, I wish the tires were cheaper. Thank God I don't have to do brakes. Has it been reliable? Well, I bought CPO for a reason, because if you go on the Audi forums, the day that these cars are out of warranty, they literally explode, and somebody gets a $5,000 bill, or maybe even a $10,000 bill. So I've had 0 warranty repair. So if I didn't hit the 2 potholes, I probably would have only replaced the front tire so far. The rear tire so far, and then my running costs would be minimal. They'd be less than $1,000 on this $120,000 car for 11 months, driving at 15,000 miles a year, which would be pretty incredible. Also with the CPO, they put a new battery. If your battery is 4 years old, you should replace it, because batteries only fail at night or in the middle of nowhere. At least that's my experience. Now, as far as flat tires go, it gives you a donut, not a full-size spare. My 2005 Audi S4, 6-speed Navarro Blue sedan, that actually had a full-size spare, and I had a couple bubbles in tires and had to change them a couple times. This gives you a scissors jack, which I don't like. It's very flimsy, but there are, underneath the jacking points, there are places to kind of like put it in, an indentation there that's covered to protect the car so you don't jack up the wrong spot of the car and damage anything. So it's really easy to get the jack in there. And then I'm not crazy about a scissor jack, but it's certainly doable. And the tire iron just doesn't give you any leverage, so I have a really good tire iron that I put. And just make sure all the pieces when you buy these cars are there, because there's a little piece that pulls off the centerpiece, and you need the centerpiece to get to be able to pull off the centerpiece to get access to the lug nuts. All right, guys, so we're going to do a really comprehensive review in a month from now. We should have probably about 17,000 miles on the car, and then I can tell you, would I buy this car again? we'll do a more in-depth, longer review. So that's the review for now with 15,000 miles. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss that 12-month review. And I will see you guys next time.